Hey, it's Mark Maynard. I'm here at markmaynard.com. I'm at the Shadow Art Fair 2012. Josh Steichman just sat down with me. Josh, as you may know, is used to work for Larry Flynt.
Yeah, I used to work at what we call the Death Star, which is the giant building at the corner of La Cienega and Wilshire Boulevard. About 14 floors of pure blackness, and yeah, I worked for Barely Legal, Taboo Magazine, and Hustler Fantasies.
And as I recall, you've actually met Larry Flynt. You went to his birthday party once, right?
I did. I went to his birthday party, although I didn't get to meet him very much there. He's a pretty isolated person in general, which sort of makes sense when he's just in a cottony fog of narcotics all day long. But I met him when I won the Office Halloween costume as part of a Pack Maniacs group that we put together a cabinet and several ghosts and all like that. And he was happy to see us, and we got a $20 gift certificate to the Olive Garden.
So Larry Flynt. So you're dressed as a ghost. You go into Larry Flynt's office. Mm-hmm. He laughs, he chuckles, and he hands you a $20 gift certificate to the Olive Garden.
Yeah, pretty much. Except his eyes weren't focusing as much as the story would imply. Yeah.
I just find the idea of like Larry Flynt, the confluence of Larry Flynt and the Olive Garden, to be very unusual.
Well, since every day he eats the Four Seasons, I have to imagine that the Olive Garden is where he thinks everyone else eats, everyone that he doesn't see there.
So it's like, in his mind, it's the Four Seasons, and then everyone else is at the Olive Garden.
Yeah.
The Olive Garden is like the working class version of the Four Seasons.
Pretty much, both Italian food. I've never been to the Four Seasons, but I assume you get unlimited breadsticks. Not positive, but someday I'd like to be able to try that out at the Four Seasons and find out for certain.
So Larry Flynt, I always picture him as being like that, like in Star Wars, that third movie. Mm-hmm. Where he knocks the thing off and he's you see Luke's father.
Oh yeah.
Like that's, he's barely alive. He's kept alive by machines. And he's just like this huge hulking kind of creature. That's pretty much what it's like, right?
Yeah. For Star Wars, I tend to think of him more like Jabba the Hutt. So I guess the best summation of meeting him, I was up having to have some paperwork signed off, and he gets pushed around in his wheelchair, and he's like this. So he's got a security guy with him at all times, a big burly guy with a gun in his pocket, and he keeps going, "Come here, come here." The guy will lean over and put his ear right to Larry's mouth, and Larry would bellow, "Asshole!" And so, I'm sitting there and I've just got to wait for him to fill out my paperwork and then leave. And he does this 5 times in a row where, the guy stands back up and Larry Flynt gestures him down again. "Asshole!" Well, that's the most coherent I've ever seen him. Was repeatedly like a toddler throwing something down just to have somebody retrieve it again and again, calling his security guy an asshole over and over.
Wow. And now you're gay.
And now I work for the gays. I work for Equality California. We're working on banning reparative therapy in California.
Banning
reparative therapy, sometimes called conversion therapy.
Oh.
They take gays to clinics and subject them to psychological stress to try to turn them straight.
Which, by the way, has proven to be incredibly successful.
Oh, yeah, we've all gone through it here. It's 100% straight now. We all love it. Nothing like it. They do chemical aversion. They show pictures of same-sex affection. Give kids drugs that make them vomit. So I wonder why instead of making being gay look bad, why they can't upsell heterosexuality. take him to clinics, maybe take him out to a Hooters or something. You know, buy the kids a couple of drinks, let them grope a waitress.
Right. Or if you're vomiting, give you a drug to stop you from vomiting and showing you heterosexual sex.
Exactly.
And you'd be like, oh, like that's awesome. Like it made me better.
Well, especially because Hustler's magazine sales keep falling, you would think there'd be a place for them in supplying just copies of the magazine to all of these poor gay kids who need.
Wait. so Hustler's sales are dropping? I don't even know that.
Along with all magazines. So a combination of not being very good pornography and unvarnished contempt for their readers and a complete inability to understand the internet means that they've been just on a decline probably the last 10 years. Every so often they come up with some sort of fakety nonsense to make their circulation numbers seem reasonable, like we're going to mail out 100,000 copies to truck stops or whatever. But yeah, I remember working there and they were talking about their new internet version, and it was a password-protected PDF that you would get every month for all of the subscribers.
Nice.
And I remember feeling like, wow, that's terrible. I would never. And they're like, no, you just don't understand the internet.
Yeah,
so.
you don't understand PDF technology. You just don't understand PDF technology.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where to go from this. So you work for Hustler. You're gay now. You're like now you're at the Shadow Art Fair, and I guess it's awesome that you flew in for the Shadow Art Fair.
Yeah. All the way. My brother he's coming in from Korea tonight, and we're hoping that we can get him down here too. Have an international family reunion right here at the Shadow Art Fair.
That's awesome. And your dad does something too. Like I can't remember what your dad does. Your dad does something interesting, right?
I think so. He's semi-retired now. He used to run a youth center up in Arrowwood, and I don't know, builds Linux computers and.
Was he doing something at EMU for a while, or what?
So he was a grad student at EMU while I was an undergrad there, and
okay, that's what I'm
he worked with your wife at some point.
All right, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and I'm sure they do interesting work because your wife does interesting stuff, but I'm not sure how much my father was a driver behind that.
So what kind of pornography do you like?
Do I enjoy amateur pornography?
All amateur.
Yeah, I came out of Hustler not feeling bad about porn, but really like not liking capitalism in porn, because a lot of people that would normally be doing things and enjoying them are more suckered into or impelled into doing things that they think people at truck stops will like, and it's not really my bag. I will say I came out of that with a much broader appreciation for other people's kinks without necessarily having to find them arousing myself. Now, there's a lot of things that people like that I had no idea about before I went in there. Vacuum pumps are a big thing for some reason.
Oh, to make your penis larger.
Yeah, but also like just on nipples and things like that.
Oh, interesting.
And they make them look all distorted, and then we paid $1,200 for a photo set.
I met a guy who, my friend Jeff and I were writing comedy together in Los Angeles when we lived in LA, and we decided to bring up a friend of his from North Carolina to basically videotape us for a weekend as we drove to California, drove along the coast writing a script for a comedy series. Yeah. We just thought it would be funny. And this guy he brought up was a guy that made a lot of money apparently with a site that just did people vacuuming their penises, and that's how I know about it. But it was called the Horseman's Club, and what he did is he made a lot of money apparently just giving a bunch of guys pumps and cameras. This was the beginning of the internet. This is like in the mid 90s, and just saying
suck.com. That's it.
Like pump up your cock, make it huge, and take a few pictures a week, and we'll sell it. And just walk around your house with a giant cock, and we'll put it on the internet, and we'll make a lot of money.
But it worked for him, huh?
Yeah, he made a lot of money. So I think he did. Yeah. So he had something called the Hung Jury, and something called the Horseman's Club. But then he also had the equivalent on the female side, and I can't remember what those were. It was the same thing, where he would give women cameras. He would say, here's a camera, I'll give you $100 a month, just take pictures of yourself with your tits out as you're vacuuming your house.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I wonder how that works. I have to say, you vacuum your house naked anyway because, why bother putting on clothes to do housework?
It makes no sense.
And so I like the idea that there's a niche of pornography there, that somebody's into that.
Well, thank you very much, Josh. Bye.